And we're live. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable Discussion. Before we get started, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse and redistribution of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can find more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. And we are episode 20.
Fucking A.
The word bludgies, that word still and always cracks me. I fucking love that shit.
I love that word. I got that word. I got that word from Shane Ratliff over at Liberty Under Attack and the Vonu podcast.
Nice.
Right, started the Vonu stuff that I was reading from him, helping on the show. I love that word, bludgies. Bludgies. They're either the bludgies, which is like policemen, agents, etc. And then there's the bludge, which are the police or the government, things like that. So it's bludge or bludgies.
Nice.
So I love that word. Speaking of bludgies, episode 20. What revolution? Where was the revolution yesterday?
Hold on. Any minute now.
They'll start the revolution as soon as they're done being grounded. As soon as their $375 revolution jackets come in.
Yeah, oh my god, dude.
Oh my god, that is so hilarious.
My bougie parents will buy it for me. What's her name? My friend Maggie Wolf said something about somebody asked her, they were like, I've been driving around all day and I haven't seen any Antifa anywhere or whatever. And she's like, the new Call of Duty just came out. She's like, they're probably fighting even faker Nazis.
Oh my goodness.
And the funny
No
thing
trash
is
can
that
safe.
yeah, none of them.
No.
Tell the sanitation department to stay home to be safe.
Right. No
Jesus.
Starbucks window or trash can will escape their wrath.
Hey, they couldn't even raise a flag in a trash can. You guys saw it.
Sprained his wrist.
Hashtag never forget. Emojima.
Emojima, yeah.
It's funny because it took like 10 of them to raise that 10-pound flagpole.
The $375 Antifa jacket.
Yeah. Only in America do revolutionaries spend $375 to look fucking poor enough to be protesting the shit that they protest.
$375 on a $50 item, $49 for the coat, and then $1 for the marker.
Somebody fucking scribbled all over it.
Well, hey, they it was cooperative teamwork, and they
Antifa 27.
They seized the flagpole.
We will rebuild.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary for those guys to seize a flagpole. I mean, they probably just got done at a gay orgy, so.
Yeah, they're probably used to playing with
We're lucky they didn't try to smoke the pole. Okay.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah. Revolution. Jesus.
I mean, they're hours of
Revolution is political masturbation
of quality entertainment.
Oh, the memes coming out of it are absolutely fantastic. Like that's like if everything that happened or didn't happen, the memes made the day. They're the one that saved the entire day.
Wasn't it kind of like a joke anyways? Like somebody was trolling Antifa by saying they were going to revolt on November 4th.
I think it might have been like folks on 4chan or some shit.
That's
as usual.
I heard
as usual.
Yeah,
I heard it both ways. I heard it both ways. Like I heard that Antifa, they were doing huge protests, and they had protests in 20 cities across the U.S. 20 cities. right?
Woo.
So they did have the protest, and there was like 4 trash cans knocked over, and there was 1 broken window, and there was like 9 broken nails. You know, but I also heard on the other side that it was like a total propaganda thing, and that it wasn't actually
like everything else. Antifa.
Yeah. It wasn't actually like an Antifa protest, organized protest. It was just like conservatives and patriot groups trolling them, trying to get them to do something. I heard it both ways.
You know what cracks me up though? It's like they proclaim to be anti-fascist while acting like fascists, right? So it's like they'll break windows and shit. Yet they probably never heard of Kristallnacht when the Nazis went to Jewish-owned businesses and broke the windows out. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Leftivists punching the fascists,
right?
But I mean, like, if you're against, authoritarianism, why wouldn't you just say you're anti-authoritarianism?
Right?
Because they're not anti-authoritarian.
I know.
Right.
That's what.
Why
that's,
would
that
you
was
then
my
appeal
point
to
earlier
the very
today.
authority that you are?
They are not anti-authoritarian. They're not anti-government. They are pro more government than we have now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They are.
But see, the whole thing is
they're just anti this government.
Yes,
I've heard
just as the Oath Keepers and the 3%, they were anti the last government.
Right.
Which, let's get honest here, there is literally no difference between the Obama years and what Trump is doing and will do.
No, and they never will.
Well,
and here's the thing: people always think
that's because he's not running it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I was just gonna say,
of course.
Yeah, there's a reason that it never changes, because most of what government does has nothing to do with elected officials at all.
Nope.
Most of what government has to do is the second set of books. It's the fucking bureaucracy. It's the regulatory. It's policy. It's
like, who do you think ran the USSR? It was the bureaucracy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
the head of the ATF, the head of the EPA, DEA, education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, those people are never elected.
Yeah, no.
But those are the people that write all the laws and write the policies. And those are the people that truly, I don't want to say that they run the government, because they really don't, but they are the ones that write or not write, but they create and dictate the laws that the states follow.
Right. Well, they interpret the laws that are written, which already are bogus. They're magic ink on paper. They interpret those, and then they form them into actionable policy.
Yeah.
And actionable, procedure.
And they can easily legalize their crimes too.
Fucking way they want.
Yeah.
They can manipulate it any fucking way they want.
Yep.
Yep.
There are no checks and balances.
No, I heard there was like some.
We're always a fucking mess.
There was like some internal memo going around the DOJ. I think it was like back in the 90s, and they were talking about how they wanted to either normalize or legalize like 12 different like depraved acts. You know what I mean? Like, I think what was it, like cannibalism was one of them. Obviously, pedophilia, because we see a push to kind of normalize that. Incest was perversion.
Perversions.
That's what it was. 12 different perversions.
Yeah, former U.S. House Majority Leader Tom DeLay
is the
one that brought that to light. Yeah.
Yep. And you see it now, because I saw an article. I think it was like in Cosmo or something. They were like talking about it was an incest thing. Like, I'm like in love with my brother, and like, this is why it's normal. And I'm like, are you fucking serious right now?
Yeah, it's Tom DeLay, former U.S. House Majority Leader Tom DeLay claims the Justice Department has drafted a memo that spells out a dozen perversions, including bestiality, pedophilia, that it wants legalized.
There you go.
We found a secret memo coming out of the Justice Department. They're now going to go after 12 new perversions. things like bestiality, polygamy, having sex with little boys, and making that illegal.
Looking disgusting, man.
Yeah. Not only that, but they have a whole list of strategies to go after the churches, the pastors, and any businesses that try to assert their religious liberty.
Yeah.
This is coming, and it's coming like a tidal wave.
Yeah, and the whole thing is like, what is it like? Like the Frankfurt School and like the Tavistock Institute and like other places like establishments like that. They're like the Rockefellers funded, that were like heavily involved and still are heavily involved in the social engineering. Like that's where all this cultural Marxist ideology and normalization comes out of, because it was a long plan. You know what I mean? And it's like you have to do that shit as a long plan if you want to normalize something as odd and like just depraved as that,
And you know what kills me is, look, I'm not for government or any laws, right? I don't give a fuck what they make legal and what they make illegal. But a lot of other people around this fucking place, they do. And as soon as they make some of that shit legal, like on paper, on their fucking magic paper, they say it's legal, people go around thinking that means it's okay. Because people equate legality with morality.
Yeah.
We know the two are not the same fucking thing.
Not at all.
But other people do. People who can't think for themselves. As soon as these things, when you have a system like this, as soon as you make a thing legal inside of it, there are going to be people who think that means it's okay to do. That doesn't fucking mean that it's okay to do. Just like something being illegal doesn't mean that it's not okay to do.
Well, absolutely. The government or the authority, pseudo authority, whatever you want to call them, the state, like if it's illegal for me to do it, if it's illegal for me and Dan to vote to do it, then it should be illegal for the government or whoever else to do it. It's all bullshit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if the law matters, it should be equal application.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it never will be.
If legality equaled morality,
yeah.
If it wasn't okay for somebody to do it, it wouldn't be okay for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing is, like, how I brought up the whole thing about the 12 different perversions, and it's like, if you said that to somebody without Jason, backing me up with documentation there, I would have sounded fucking
chat, by the way.
I would have sounded absolutely fucking insane. People would have been like, no way. Mm-hmm. They would never try to do that. And it's like, I've seen like shit like on CNN with that one, what's his name? Sanjay Gupta. He fucking ate brains, dude, with like a tribe from, I think it was like Papua New Guinea or something. I think it was last year.
Who was it? Was it Katy Perry that just said cannibalism has gotten a bad rap? Or was that
that's what I'm saying.
I scrolled past it, so I don't.
But there's
satire? Or was she legitimately?
It might have been.
Meat is the best meat?
It might have been just as like kind of to slip it in there.
Who knows?
To plant a seed, because I've seen like a lot of like that being discussed and like injected into like shows and stuff. Like there's that Santa Clarita Diet show with Drew Barrymore on Netflix where she like becomes a cannibal. It's like supposed to be a comedy. And that's like how they'll do like a lot of this stuff is like satirically, like they'll bring it up to like plant a seed. And
they use comedy to try to normalize.
Yeah. Well, and the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror this past weekend, Homer was eating himself. What else? And then like that thing on CNN I was telling you about, he ate human brains like straight up.
It's like Hannibal Lecter shit. And what blows my mind is that there are enough easily fucking led people. Like it's become a joke to the elites recently to see how far they can push it. Bullshit they can get people to fucking swallow and view as normal.
Well, there was like an insane backlash by like a lot of people, like people that weren't even like religious, with that whole like eating brains thing. Like people were just like, "What the fuck?" Like, yeah, you know what I mean? And like they totally apologized, and they're like, "That's like not cool, dude." Like, Like, where do we draw the line here, guys? Because we're getting pretty damn close to Sodom and Gomorrah.
We draw the line at the fucking Donner Party, okay? Extreme situations where the rest of the party will perish if they don't eat the one that's already dead.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference. There's a huge
difference. The Colombian soccer team in the Andes.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The plane crash.
Yeah, what is that? That movie Alive?
Alive, yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah, wild, dude. Real wild. But that's the whole thing.
That should have your mind running for 3 or 4 days.
Like think about this, right? They plant that seed with like kind of like predictive programming, right? And that's like how they do a lot of this stuff. Now, when the global economy collapses or something like that, you know what I mean? You don't think there's going to be people that are like, cannibalizing, like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna get real wild, dude.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna people in a survival situation, like
I don't want to think about that, but
I prep. I'm a prepper.
Yeah,
I
of course, you kind of have
stock
to
food and things like that. But the psychological aspect of survival,
it's something you can't prepare for, really. But you can kind of.
You guys, we've known hunger, right? We've been hungry, like our stomachs growl. We've gone a day without food, or maybe a day and a half without food, or 2 days without food. Go 5 days without food.
Yeah, you get real primal, dude.
You start looking at every little thing. You're like, I wonder if that tastes good.
Yeah. Like civilized society kind of goes out the window at that point.
Like in the old cartoons, when like the other character would start fucking dancing around like a little turkey.
Yeah, 2 characters on an island.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, dude, like you probably you've seen your girl hungry. You know what I mean? Like that shit is no joke. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, guys get like that too, but I think women are like ruthless when they get hungry, man. I've seen some serious ruthless shit.
We gotta maintain that childbearing fat layer.
Yeah, man, something.
That's instinct for us.
Like you guys are like definitely murder material.
Yeah. Seriously.
I've seen some serious shit. Like, all right, here, you eat first.
Yeah. A comment in the chat here from YY. It says, if you can't eat for a day or 2, you can't even fall asleep. It sucks. I agree. I know. If you can't eat for a day or 2, not only can you not realistically fall asleep, like you literally have to pass out in order to go to sleep, but your dreams are so vivid that it wakes you up. Like it'll either wake you up and you'll be awake, alert, hyper alert, or it will really fuck you up.
Well, it kind of like compounds the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know.
Deprivation.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah, it's like that's
you have
bad.
A fucking psychosis brew going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You start like every little thing starts looking good.
Right. Yeah.
Start eating tree bark if you have to. You know, and it's fucked up too, because it's like you know, we're very, very fucking spoiled in terms of like, you know, our first world status and living, you know, in the country that we do. Even though, like, you know, people are like, even people in poverty live a lot better than, you know, some people in third world countries.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's like once all that shit's thrown out the window, people are going to be like, oh, damn, I had it good. Like,
yeah. The people who live in poverty in the United States are still in like the top
the global 5%.
Oh, totally, dude.
The global 5% for standard of living.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's circle this discussion back around the beginning about the revolution. Antifa, the revolution, right? We're talking about how revolutions don't work. Let's go from there.
Yeah.
I got a quote I want to read from Ben Stone's book, Sedition, Subversion, and Sabotage. Field Manual number 1 said, armed conflict for the purpose of secession usually turns into revolution, and no revolution has ever produced a free people. Revolution is a violent, bloody process that, if successful, exchanges the old tyrant for a new one, then forces the new government on the people, whether they want it or not.
Bingo.
Ben's a smart guy because you know what?
Yeah.
In order to wage a revolution, you have to collectivize. You have to become a cohesive unit with a whole bunch of other people.
Yep.
And that is the path to a new fucking government.
Yeah.
The only kind of war that will ever work against governments is a war of attrition. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Fucking walk away from them until they have nobody left to bully.
Yeah,
and
the whole
thing that can work.
Mental evolution, not physical revolution.
That's what I always argue too, and it's like you kind of have to evolve into self-sustainable communities. You know what I mean? Because once you do that, then people realize, okay, well, we can do this on our own. We don't need them. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a
freedom in it, right? There's freedom in being self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Because then they have nothing to hold over your head.
Yeah.
They
and you
no
look at every single aspect that government drives home in terms of their need to exist, or like, you know what I mean? Like the things that the underpinnings of their existence, essentially. You attack that. And not attack like physically, but like you undermine that. Like you do the exact opposite.
Right. Because there is no way to physically attack it, because the biggest thing that props them up is belief.
Like,
exactly.
Going back to Ben's book, another quote from him. It says, "This is actually one that I just made earlier for the posting on the Facebook page, badquaker.com. That's DOTCOM. He says, ultimately, it's the market that will choose the timing of the death of the state. Currently, there's a thriving market demand for the state. Most people don't understand the alternatives, nor can they imagine a world without monopolized aggression. Also, people tend to be loyal to brand-specific products, and the state is the brand Mother trusted, the brand Gramps fought for during the war, and it's the only brand they've ever heard about on their television. Most people have very little exposure to the violent, bloody monster that is hidden underneath the surface in every encounter with government agents."
This was the genius of Idiocracy. People in that movie literally could not envision putting anything but Brando on their fucking plate.
Yep.
They seriously couldn't imagine another way. They were shocked when he suggested water, like out the toilet.
Oh shit! Slinky's in the comments, you guys.
Oh fuck!
Oh
Here we
man.
go.
But see, that's the beauty of it.
One finger salute.
Did I smell brimstone? I thought I smelled brimstone.
Oh. But see, that's the beauty of human psychology, is that you see everything that they like, you know, attack in terms of like, let's see, you know, how easy it is to get people to believe something if you're repetitive enough with it. You know, you just keep repeating something and it just fucking sinks in after a while. Like taxation is theft, like that. That's a simple fucking 3, you know, word, you know, statement, and it's you repeat that enough, people fucking are like,
tit. I mean, it's a
win-win. Yeah, exactly. But like, you know what I mean? Like that's the beauty of, like, you know, people are like, oh, memes aren't going to change anything. Like, bullshit, dude. Like, you know, over like the past like 5, you know, maybe even less than 5 years, I've seen memes change like a lot of people's, you know, ways of thinking in terms of like planting seeds and getting them to think on their own. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you're like, oh, here, read this fucking, you know, 2-page, you know, philosophical fucking point of view.
A specific meme that I made that changed their mind.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know? Yeah.
There's a lot of power behind it.
I tell people all the time that I can't change anybody's mind. Like, I cannot make anybody think like I think, or make anybody think a certain way. God.
Jesus, Dan.
You all right there, Dan?
Yeah, it fell out of my ear.
I tell people all the time that I cannot
something with you, nigga.
Yeah, I know. Dude,
I cannot change anybody's mind. I cannot force anybody to think a certain way. I cannot make anybody think like you guys. Only thing I can do is present knowledge to you.
Yep.
And hope that you let the seed grow, and that you drink from the knowledge and change your own mind. Like that's it. Like I can't help you mentally evolve. Right? That mental evolution is completely an isolated individual act. The only thing that I can do is give you the tools to help you try to evolve mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a fucking long, gradual process too.
And that's why we're at a disadvantage, because our views, let's say voluntarism, our belief that all human interactions should be voluntary, it is a fucking uphill battle, because for people to arrive at where we're at, they have to reject the very things and the very methods that are used against them to make them believe other things.
We tell people you should be free, and they say no, I shouldn't.
Exactly. And we're like, okay, well, I can't force you because I believe in you being free, so I can't force you to be free, because then you wouldn't be free.
That's the beauty of like my statement that I made last night about how I said I see so many super serious anarchists, and it's like I used to be that dude. You know what I mean? Like I used to be like, you know, fucking crusader for the fucking cause kind of deal. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like I'd like wear myself out like being so fucking serious about it. And I'm not saying that I'm not serious about it anymore.
I give myself headaches.
I am. Shit. Yeah, I mean I am. But it's like
beating your head against a brick fucking wall.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, why not have fun with it and like embody, like, you know, like
make it attractive by being
exactly. That's what I mean.
Fun for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and like that's what I was trying to explain to people. They were like, "Oh, well, like my one friend was like, well, what are you, just like in like a phase of like acceptance, like, you know, whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, like, you know, I'm not saying that we're not going to be able to change anything, because we already are changing things. You know what I mean?" I was like, you know, slowly but surely we were changing things without a doubt.
Absolutely. Like, there's the idea out there, the belief out there that we as anarchists, it is our duty to create other anarchists, right? It is our duty to go out there and
evangelical anarchism,
right? Evangelical anarchism, right? That's exactly what it is, right? We got we have to. We need an anarchy MK Ultra programmer. We need an anarchy church, you know, to convert status to anarchism.
Yes.
You know, we need anarcho outreach. No, we don't. No, we don't. All that we have to do is point out what the government is doing. Right? No, there is nothing better for anarchy than government.
Yeah.
Right? Pointing out what the government does, pointing out the idiocies, pointing out the corruptions, the crimes, the murders, the rapes, the immorality. Yes, it absolutely sells our case. The government is anarchy's biggest sponsor.
And the funny thing is, like, I was trying to tell him, I'm like, you know, I was like, you might as well have fun with it. I'm like, do you really want to go to a job that you hate every fucking day? Or do you want to, like, enjoy what the fuck you're doing? You know what I mean? I was like, not only that, like, you know, we've discussed before, honey attracts more fucking, you know, more than vinegar. And it's like, you know, why not embody that, like, you know, that free spirit, that fun spirit, like, of just being you, not caring. And I'm not saying, like, not caring what other people think, to the degree like you know, you're just like an unkept slob, and like, you know, you don't give a shit about, like, you know, like you know, take pride in yourself. But at the same time, like, don't
jacket.
It
looks like shit.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, like, you know, kind of keep up like appearances in terms of like impress other people. Just take pride in like yourself, for yourself, and enjoy your fucking life, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be a miserable cocksucker all the fucking time, and like end up alienating your whole entire family because like
live the life, you know, be the change.
And it's like
people do admire when they notice somebody who is always taking a step forward, always taking a step up, even if it's a small step, and they never stop moving, and they're always trying to be better. People admire that, whether they consciously register it or not. They admire that, become drawn to people who are always seeking to do better.
That should be your only competition, is yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep. The only person you should be better than is who you were yesterday.
Fucking A, man. Kick life's ass. You know what I mean? And it's inspirational to other people. You know, I've like had people, you know, message me through Messenger and say, you know, thanks a lot. Like, you know, just your humor alone helps me get through the day sometimes, and like. you know, if it's even just that, you know what I mean, that means a lot to me. Because like, you know, knowing that like I have an impact on somebody's life that I've never even met like in person.
Yep.
That's not about my ego. That's like I want to have, you know, value. You know what I mean? Like I want to like add something to other people's lives as well. You know what I mean? And like
this is the root principle. I mean, if we each look after our own lives and put in the effort to improve our own lives, and by effect, the lives of those around us, the world becomes a much better place. Instead of just expecting somebody else to make it better for you.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Self-responsibility. I mean, this is the core of anarchism, inside and out. It's the core, it's the outer edges, and it's everything in between. Fucking take care of yourself. Self-responsibility. Rely on yourself. And you know, we do it for us, but it benefits those around us at the same fucking time. It's why capitalism works. It's why anarchy would work. Because human beings are inherently self-interested. And we should be. The problems come when people try to subsume parts of their own fucking human nature to try to satisfy some greedy fucking social narrative. That's when problems begin.
That is very true.
We can work within our own fucking natures, and it will make the world a better place.
You know, to quote our buddy Danilo, a rising tide raises all boats. You know, as you do good, as you get better, as you become the example, you know, as you start living your life the way you want to live, as long as your positivity is being exhumed out there into the universe, other people take notice, right? And other people, you know, they start to rise with you, and they reach out, and you're able to help them. Like I have helped, like since becoming a positive thinker and getting rid of like 99% of my depression and anxiety and all that good stuff. Like people reach out to me, and they're like, hey, you know, I noticed you this and this and that and this and that. You know, how did you do it? Right? I can help people now because I went through it. And it's not only in my personal life, emotionally and whatnot, but like with anarchy also, you know, with voluntarism. You know, like I consider personally, I consider positivity and voluntarism, like, you know, positive thinking and positive environment and all that good stuff, like totally connected with voluntarism. Like I would rather live happily. I'd rather live as a happy person in a non-voluntarious environment than be a very negative person with total freedom. Right? Because if you're not happy, then you are completely, it doesn't matter. So.
Attitude is everything. You know, my parents told me that growing up my whole life. Attitude is absolutely everything.
Yep. Change your mind and change your thoughts and you change the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've always been a pretty positive person to begin with. But I have to stay off Facebook when I'm not feeling positive because I don't want to drag everybody else down. Because there's times when it's just too much, and I'm like, no, I can't fucking be positive today. Sorry. I mean, it's rare, but well, it's not today either. You've seen it. I take like a 2-month hiatus, and then everybody thinks I'm fucking dead because I haven't been on Facebook for 2 months. It just means I wasn't feeling very positive, though, you guys, and I can't interact with people when I'm not.
She's still alive, you guys. If she died, we'd know.
Yeah.
Her anarcho daddy would definitely know.
That's right.
Oh yeah. All right. So what I meant to say was that when it comes to not that, you know, like we were saying, it's going to be damn near impossible to try and convert people, but to get people to question their own beliefs, the best
so hard,
way.
Though. Oh my God.
Well, I've found that it's not that hard, really. I mean, it's just really what you got to do is just ask people questions and just be non-confrontational, because that's going to be the easiest way to get through to them, because it's not going to like be like you're trying to explain something to them.
But they have to have a willingness to question to begin with. There are some people who just, they don't care. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to talk about
there's some people that won't.
They're comfortable where they're at.
If you know? I've found that it's like if you present it like you don't even mention anarchism to begin with, right? And you just pretty much like bring up something like, that's a common like principle, like, taxation or being against war, or like tying those two together, like, like I've said numerous times, like, would you want the option to not have to like pay for war? You know what I mean? Like wholesale mass murder. Usually people are fucking like, of course I would want that option. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
that's what you ask the liberals. You ask the conservatives, don't you want the option to not have to pay for health care and birth control?
But even at this point, like a lot of
Social
conservatives
services.
that I know
No,
don't
that's
even
true. A
want
lot
war.
of
You know
people
what I
are
mean?
anti-war. Well,
Because
I mean,
they're
what
like,
do
they're
you
just tired of
expect?
it.
We've been at war for like 17 years now. 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only a short break before that from the previous war.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
America's been at constant war for most of the 20th and 21st century.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I think like all but 27 years or something like that.
Yeah. It's insane. And
So
that's a good idea.
Tired of it.
Dylan says that he found that income tax is the best place to start,
Yeah.
especially with coworkers normally brought up after payday.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good idea, Dylan.
And like, I have yet to alienate any one of my friends or family members about any of this, like ever since like, I like really like, got into understanding, anarchism, and like, none of them are like, oh, you're a fucking radical, like, you know what I mean? Like they totally like get it, you know what I mean?
With me and my family left. I didn't leave them. I didn't push them away.
Most of my family is just very, very indulgent towards it because they love me. They just kind of like pat me on the head and shake their heads about it.
Okay, we'll let you believe what you want to believe.
Right. Oh,
you're an anarchist. Oh, that's so pretty.
Right. Really. I had one member of my family in Jamaica when we were all there. She was, oh, you anarchist, you. Like it was some kind of joke. And I was like, okay.
Well, the whole thing is like my family doesn't like really like, they're not super political, so it's like they give a shit less. Like they're like, well, yeah, we know that the whole entire government's like a complete shit show, and it's like, what can we do? And I'm like, well, we can do better, like, and here's like some things that like I would propose.
My family's really conservative and nationalistic,
Mm-hmm.
So, but they love me, so they put up with it.
See, I'm neither for nationalism or globalism, but I always argue that if you're gonna have to opt for one of the two, I'd go for nationalism because it's either
smaller.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, at least you can like get a grip on that and like try and like, you know what I mean? Not take it down through a revolution, but like scale it back to the point where people can start being more self-sufficient.
Give me any two choices, and the one that's lower down on the totalitarianism ladder. That's the one I'm gonna pick.
And globalism is like completely removed. Like that's like
to use a bad term. It's the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like either one. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know, but I mean, that's, if Dylan's listening, he'll like this one. That's a false dichotomy, anyways, because there's more options to support than just those two.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But of course, people always want to try to force you into making a choice between two evils when there are plenty of other options.
Oh, you're an anarchist? Do you want kids to starve or do you want women to be raped?
Well, when you're talking about like, steak and potatoes ideas with like statists that like don't really comprehend like the fucking nuance of shit, and like, sometimes you got to sell them a false dichotomy so they understand it better.
Yeah. It can be, I don't know, useful diagramming tool, I guess.
Yeah. Hey man, I don't throw the fucking baby out with the bathwater when it comes to any method that'll get through these fucking people. Because I mean, like I see, like, I always bring that up about like true believers when it comes to the anarchist community, and like they think that there's only one way to go about doing things. It's like, You know what I mean? If we believe, or if you know,
right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if so many proclaim that every individual is different, right? Why wouldn't there be a million different approaches to get through to people?
7 billion.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like you gotta kind of fine tune your method.
Yep. I'm all for having 7 billion nations on this planet. I love nations so much, I want 7 billion of them.
Anarcho-tyranny, man. I'm telling you, it's a new way.
Dylan responded to Derica.
Oh, great.
He says, "Oh God, Derica, we could do a full debate show on what is or isn't a false dichotomy." remember, it's always
just for you, Dylan.
Remember, it's always either a false dichotomy or it's not. Wait.
I see what you did there.
Oh. No.
You slick bastard.
I knew he'd love that term.
Speaking of people's fears, which is kind of a segue-ish, I guess.
We'll make it one, goddammit.
Yeah, it always is.
America's top fears in 2017. Chapman University's Survey of American Fears, Wave 4, that is 2017, provides an in-depth examination into the fears of average Americans. In May 2007, a random sample of 1,207 adults from across the United States were asked their level of fear about 80 different fears across a huge variety of topics, ranging from crime, the government, those are the same thing, the environment, disaster, personal anxieties, technology, and many others. Okay, the top 10 fears, all right? Below is a list of 10 fears in which the highest percentage of Americans reported being afraid or very afraid. Corrupt government officials, 74.5%.
We're well on our
way. American Healthcare Act / Trump Care, 55.3%. Pollution of oceans, rivers, and lakes, 53.1%. Pollution of drinking waters, 50.4%. Not having enough money for the future, 50.2%. High medical bills, 48.4%. The U.S. involved in another world war, 48.4%. Global warming and climate change, 48%. North Korea using weapons, 47.5%. Air pollution, 44.9%. All 10 of those things, but like maybe the pollution, like I can make an argument whether the pollution one way or the other, but like 9 of those 10 are all government.
Right.
they're all government in one way or another.
Yeah. And yet I had a friend of mine arguing with me today about how government is how we get together and solve problems. Like, for real.
Hold on.
Seriously, I know. And they're actually using, you know, I was arguing with 2 guys in this thread. The one I'm not friends with, the other one I am. And they're using the goddamn warlords thing. We need government so warlords don't take over. We need warlords so warlords don't take over.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, who's already taken over?
Yeah. What do you call government? They're fucking warlords. Oh my God.
It's for real.
All right. Economic or financial collapse, 11th at 44.4. Extinction of plants and animals, 43.5. Terrorist attack, 43.3. Going down. Biological warfare, 41.8. That's number 15. Number 19, cyber terrorism, 39.1. 20, widespread civil unrest, 39.1. Terrorism, number 22 at 38.3. Blah, blah. Okay, 23. You don't get to gun control until number 23, and it is the fear of government restrictions on firearms and ammunition at 38.6.
Everybody should be afraid of that.
Yeah, it's just like this list, like random mass shootings. It's number 35 at 28.1.
Didn't you wait? Back up a second. Didn't you say biological warfare on there? How How many people even know what biological warfare actually is?
Biological warfare came in at number 15 at 41.8%.
I doubt 41.8% of adults living in the U.S. know what biological warfare is. I'm pretty sure they're thinking of radiological warfare.
Yeah. A pandemic or major epidemic, 32.8% at number 30.
Yeah. Biological warfare, just for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, biological warfare is not nukes. Okay?
Dylan said he just wrote 10 30-second campaign ads with that list. Actually, literally, that entire list will be a 30-second campaign ad.
Yep.
Biological warfare is when you fart and don't roll the windows down the car.
Okay, but it's not nukes. All right? Biological warfare is fucking loading a plague corpse into a trebuchet and lobbing it over the castle walls. That's biological warfare.
And then you gotta get like really far down on this list before you get to one that I actually worry about.
What's that?
All right, number 59 at 18.4%. Police brutality.
Yeah, that'll kill you.
Okay, small enclosed spaces, mugging, public speaking, insects or arachnids, devastating hurricane, reptiles, tornado, computer replacing people in the workforce, sharks all scored higher than police brutality.
For real?
People are so fucking stupid.
That's fucking insane.
People are so stupid. Like, okay, sharks are one of my phobias, right? But that's why I don't swim in the ocean. It's that easy to avoid. Police brutality, that's not as easy to avoid.
The one that really matters didn't come in until number 78 at 5.3%. Zombies.
Oh man.
Dude.
Zombies scored even lower on the list than other people talking about you behind your back.
People are being lulled to sleep, man.
People are zombies. That's why they're not afraid of zombies.
There you go.
Number 69 on the list, 10.7%. Whites no longer being the majority in the U.S.
Who fucking cares?
I'm pretty sure there's a long way to go.
64, 14.9%. Technology I don't understand.
Terrifying.
How many baby boomers today? Oh, we're talking about baby boomers again today. That's twice in one day we're talking about baby boomers.
Oh, my goodness.
Safety net.
Oh, my goodness. Like, that list. People. I
worry about getting my fucking dick caught in my zipper more than most of those things, dude. Straight up. It's like, if we're being fucking completely fucking frank here.
Oh my goodness.
All right, enough with the hot dog jokes.
I worry about my kids knocking their teeth out.
Yeah.
That's what I worry about the most is like
for real
massive dental wounds to my children because that's the direction they're headed almost every day. Seriously, I worry about that more than almost anything else on that list.
What was I gonna say? I don't really worry about much in terms of like.
Yeah, Dylan says those damn sharks are always pulling him over for illegal swimming.
Yeah.
No joke, dude.
They're always seizing my fucking property.
Road sharks.
You know, put me in handcuffs and shit.
But see, it's I think that's kind of all of a matter of like I wouldn't say perspective because there is a lot of fucking police brutality. Or at least it's been brought to light because there's more fucking, you know, everybody's got a camera on their phone now.
Yep.
Oh, it's definitely. I would not say that necessarily that there's more. But I will say that it is definitely being brought to light and exposed.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And, you know, because who knows how.
Becoming more militarized and more trained.
Well, that too, yeah.
To be violent.
But even when they weren't militarized, you know, think about how bad the brutality probably was during like the 60s and shit, like when they were, you know, sicking dogs and hoses and shit on black people.
Yeah, during the
like, you know what I mean? Like that was just the shit that they got on camera. Like imagine the shit they didn't get on camera. You know what I mean?
See,
so it's like
then, they didn't view Black people as human beings. Now they don't view any of us as human
beings. Yeah. Good point. But like, you know, it's like where I live, you know what I mean? There's like one cop on, and there's like, you know, 2 shifts or whatever, or 3 shifts. But regardless, there's one cop on, you know, at any given time. But you never see the fucking cop. Nobody's like running around here, you know, setting fucking houses on fire, or, you know, people getting shot in the face or anything like that. You know, it's a peaceful community, and
I've seen
like
cops
very
in my
little
neighborhood,
crime.
Like, yeah, we've lived here like 10 years, and I've seen cops in my neighborhood, other than the lesbian cops that used to live next to us. But I mean, I've seen cops in my neighborhood like on duty responding to something.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times. Maybe 3 times in the 10 years that I've lived.
Yeah.
And there's Anarchy. There's nobody here making everybody behave.
There isn't a single CCTV camera in my neighborhood. Like in this whole entire community, there's like one camera, and that's like in the convenience store. That's it.
Right.
And you know what I mean? It's like I said, it's super peaceful. Everybody gets along. You know, nobody bothers each other. Unless, like, you know, you're going to go over to your neighbor's house and say, hey, you know, whatever, I got some cucumbers. You want to trade some for your tomatoes or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of the place where I live, which is super cool. You know what I mean? And it's like kind of ideally how I'd like to see a lot of, you know, neighborhoods be.
My neighborhood isn't that friendly. We all just fucking ignore each other.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that
that's why
too,
we
though,
get along.
but which is, you know, exactly. And it's like, I don't see what's wrong with that, but at the same time, I think it'd be a lot better if, you know, a lot more people got along with their neighbors.
Right.
Because then you wouldn't need fucking cops. You know what I mean? You just look out for each other.
Yeah. I mean,
without people being like, oh, what's he doing over there? You know?
That's the way it was for a long time. You know, I mean,
you know what I mean?
The
like,
Wild West got a really bad rap, but it wasn't that wild. Like, people looked out for their neighbors there. People stuck together. You know, communities.
And not only that, like if your kid got in trouble or whatever, you know what I mean? Like with some other kid, and like, you know, instead of like being like, oh, I'm calling the cops on you, like, nah, fuck that. I'm bringing you back to your parents and letting them know what you did.
Their parents are, right? People have to call the cops now because they don't fucking know you.
Yeah.
They don't know who the kid's parents are.
You'd be way more terrified of going home to your fucking parents than getting caught by the cops. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh shit, I'm getting my ass whooped.
In my hometown growing up, I couldn't get away with shit.
That's what I mean,
my
right?
Parents knew fucking everybody. There's nowhere in that town that I could go where I wouldn't be spotted by someone who knew my fucking parents.
See, and that's strong family units take care of that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
It's the exact opposite here.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up in the ghetto with a large neighborhood, probably 400, 500 homes in it. Like, I delivered the newspaper on my mini bike, and I didn't know my neighbors. Nobody really knew their neighbors. And then, like, where I live now, police policy is they cannot respond to calls in this neighborhood with just a single vehicle.
No shit.
Yeah, like they'll come in 3 and 4 police deep, and they'll always have one standing in the back with his AR. It's
I'm telling you, Jason, you got to move out here. Come
For
live
real,
in our basement. When we get our new place, come live in our basement.
Where the fuck is my? Oh, there we go.
What the fuck did you lose now?
I was looking for my lighter. But no, yeah, dude, you need to come out on the East Coast where the shit's way more peaceful out here. It was in my hoodie pocket, and I got like 8,000 fucking hauls in my fucking hoodie pocket. Like...
I will say both seaboards have their bad areas.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah.
You know, like where I grew up in Oregon, and it was super fucking peaceful.
But California's taking a turn for the worst
now. Oregon's taking a turn for the worst too.
Yeah.
You know, but it was really peaceful when I was growing up.
I mean,
not all of Virginia's great. Richmond's a fucking shithole.
Not all of New York's great either.
Alexandria's a shithole. You know, like Springfield is shithole. All of the big urban areas are fucking shithole.
Pretty much.
But, you know, you get out of town just a little bit, the shit's super fucking peaceful here.
Yeah. Same as here.
Yeah.
You know where shit's not peaceful?
Huh.
The FBI. God, I suck.
What happened now?
I suck at the segue life. The segue. All right,
so you do really good. You're just having an off night. That's all.
I'm trying to do two things at once. I just Dylan, man, where you at? I sent you the link. Come join us.
Do you have any other comments?
Bit rolling. So what's up with the FBI?
Not regard. Oh, Dylan says in regards to the police brutality thing. He says it's a matter of authority in which millennials, quote unquote, don't seem to have. It's going to be interesting to see how issues progress in the next 2 decades.
Yeah. Everything's going to get interesting in the next 2 decades.
All right. I sent the link to Dylan, you guys. He's going to join us in a few minutes.
All right.
So, all right.
So what's up with the FBI?
FBI director. Unbreakable encryption is, quote, a huge problem.
You can suck a dick.
Yeah, he can suck too.
Sorry.
He says, and I quote, I get it. There's a balance that needs to be struck.
No, there's not. It's our shit. It's not your business.
There's a balance that needs to be struck.
FBI Director Christopher Wray told a conference of law enforcement officials on Sunday that he and his colleagues have been unable to open nearly 7,000 digital devices in the first 11 months of 2017 fiscal year.
The world's tiniest violin.
Dude, you and I were fucking doing the crying fucking deal at the same time.
To put it mildly, this is a huge problem.
I love it.
Ray said at the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference in Philadelphia.
Wow.
Ray's remarks come less than 2 weeks after another top law enforcement official, Deputy Attorney Rod Rosenstein, called for, quote, responsible encryption. Responsible encryption, a seemingly magical method by which only law enforcement would be able to defeat the encryption on a digitally locked device. I get it, Ray. Yeah, I get it, Ray said. There's a balance that needs to be struck between encryption and the importance of giving us the tools we need to keep the public safe.
Wrong.
Sorry.
God. Oh.
Okay, even if you're going by fucking, legal standards, whatever happened to the Fourth Amendment?
Yeah, let's go buy their magic, their precious fucking magic tape.
Exactly.
Even buy their own fucking, sacred ink on paper. They're still wrong.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. We need to find a balance between your privacy and the government having total access to your data.
Yeah. So what?
So translation. We need to find a balance between you having your own stuff and me getting the stuff from you that I want from you without having to fucking ask.
Yeah.
This is the encryption version of common sense gun control.
Now, do you think that people weren't going to find a way to fucking combat their bullshit, like with the Patriot Act, like after 9/11?
The market provides, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Like we talked about earlier. For every market demand, there is a market solution, right? If government would get out of the way, then the government would no longer be needed anymore. But
it's Newton's third law of anarchy. For every government action, there's an equal and opposite market reaction.
Exactly. Yep.
So instead, they do stupid shit, right? Like fucking build in fucking backdoors and all of this technology, so that
facial recognition on your fucking cell phones now.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like they build in all these backdoors into the technology so that they can, hack into whatever device you have or whatever.
Get that out of your laptop, by the way.
Right. So.
I know a guy that can take care of that.
Even like the black hat hackers have fucking access to this shit because there's already a backdoor built into it. You know what I mean? If they find the fucking way into it, it's not just for the government. The fucking the bad actors, you know, quote unquote, can fucking find their way in too. So it's fucking open.
Are the bad actors.
I know that. That's why I said quote. That's why I said quote unquote.
Right. I know. For anybody who's listening, who may not have been
but I mean, like, it's open season for everybody, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a vulnerability, is what it is, and a vulnerability can be exploited by anybody with the knowledge, time, and patience to do that.
Exactly.
I used to work in cryptology, for fuck's sake. This was my thing in the military. Okay, a vulnerability is a vulnerability. It doesn't matter.
Stop woman-splaining to us, Derek.
It doesn't matter if it's a good guy vulnerability or a bad guy vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fucking vulnerability.
Exactly.
You know, and we know, like, the NSA is watching this, they're recording this, they're doing, you know, word forming programs and whatnot, listening for specific words. You know, like, go fuck yourself, NSA guy.
That's right.
All right, and I know it's all over. Like, my phone is a fucking, it's a literal spy tool.
Pretty much.
You know?
I'm so addicted to it. God damn it.
Yeah. It's like the fucking
I can't live without it.
Amazon Echo deal and all that shit. You know what I mean?
I will not have that shit in my house. The Alexa shit.
Yeah.
I won't fucking have that in my house. You guys
like
know.
my mom got that shit. Like, I think it was last Christmas, and I'm like, why, dude?
You guys know how much I love Amazon. Do you think I would not love to have a steady fucking IV drip Amazon in my house? I would love to, but
right. Like, all of a sudden you just think of something, and you're like, order that for me.
Right. It's just way
I mean, the convenience of it.
Stupid.
Yeah, the convenience of it is like ridiculous, you know. And it's like, it's wonderful if it wasn't a fucking spy tool.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if nobody's currently using it to spy, which, come on.
We know. Yeah. If it's hooked up to the internet, then we know through FISCA or not FISCA, FISA courts, it's being
Think about this for a second, right?
Even if nobody's currently using it to spy, they can, and that's why you shouldn't fucking have it.
No, think about this. You know how they can use like a high frequency acoustics to fucking like map out the fucking layout of like your, like, you know, the interior of your home.
They don't need to. They just need you to buy a Roomba.
Yeah, like, it's fucking crazy. I'm sure they can do that.
Yeah, they just need you to buy one of those fucking vacuuming robots.
Yeah, the Roomba. That came out like, what, 7-8 months ago or something like that. Yeah. Like, Roomba was selling the floor plans of your home to a third party.
Yeah, fuck that.
Wonderful. And this is what
anymore. Did you guys know that, like, with cars nowadays, the car manufacturers are trying to make it legal for them to just lease you the software that runs your fucking car.
Yeah, like, you can't do any work on your car yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like John did with their no right to repair thing.
Yeah, like, you have to bring it to like a certified dealer and all that shit, and like only they can work on it.
$120 an hour, and all that stuff.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. Isn't it like fascism essentially? Like, kind of.
It pretty much, yeah.
Because you know what I mean, it's like monopoly on the market. At the very
least, it's corporatism. Because
yeah.
These so the car manufacturers are trying to make these operating systems universal to all new cars, and then they're trying to make it so that you can't actually own the operating system that is in your own fucking car. They can shut you down anytime they want. They maintain complete control over it. Everything.
So,
and this is corporatism, because how do you own transportation without having one of these systems at this point? They're not manufacturing cars without them anymore.
Jason, bring up the article.
Which one?
Perfect time for the fucking how they don't want to have cars in big cities anymore.
Oh no, okay, wait.
Perfect segue, brother.
Banned cars. Yeah, let's skip to banned cars. We'll come back to parking tickets later. All right. So this it's an opinion piece. All right. So it's an opinion piece posted in BuzzFeed, November 3rd.
Surprise.
November 3rd, and this is right after the New York the guy drove the truck into the people. Right?
I mean, if he didn't have a fucking silencer on his fucking front grill.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like,
you know,
he had a bump stock in the fucking back.
Bump stock axle.
Yeah.
It was a bump stock. The car just kept going forward.
Yep.
It was fully automatic.
So the
it's
title
called a bump stock because it helped him bump people down and drive over them. Don't you guys know?
And then they got stuck underneath.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing it wasn't fucking standard.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's an assault truck. Sorry, Jason.
The opinion piece, right? We should ban cars from big cities. Seriously. 6,000 Americans were killed by cars while walking city streets last year. As terrorists embrace this deadly power, car-free cities make even more sense.
Even more sense? When did they make any fucking sense?
Can they just say privately owned vehicles?
I'm so
that's what they really mean.
I'm trying I'm trying real hard to get through this, you guys. Okay. In the coming days, politicians will try to convince you that what happened on West Side Highway in Manhattan this week was an issue of terrorism, immigration, or religion. But just like the plague of mass shootings is a gun problem, the thousands of people killed by cars as they walk the streets every year is a car problem. Dylan!
Hi, Dylan.
Dude, it sounds like it's a goddamn fucking piece written by The Onion.
Nope, this is a real piece.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like it's so ridiculous. It sounds like satire.
Right. Satire is becoming reality.
That's what I know. I've fucking been arguing that for a couple of years now.
All right, Dylan's here, so I'm going to start this piece over real quick.
What up, Dylan?
We won't interrupt you so much this time, Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should ban cars from big cities. Seriously. In the coming days, politicians will try to convince you that what happened on the West Side Highway in Manhattan last week was an issue of terrorism, immigration, or religion. But just like the plague of mass shootings is a gun problem, the thousands of people killed by cars as they walk our streets every year is a car problem. A gun lobbyist would typically step in right about now to ask whether those who demand gun control after mass shootings also want to ban cars after events like this week. To which I say, hell yes. Cars don't belong. Cars don't belong on the streets of big cities, and we should do everything in our power to get rid of them. You can't
car
stop.
registration leads to car confiscation, though.
You can't stop crazy, but you can reduce the number of people allowed to drive their 4,000-pound machines into city parks, along city beaches, past playgrounds, and alongside the sidewalks of the most pedestrian-packed places in the nation. If we banned cars from every major city in the U.S. tomorrow, we would stop vehicular terrorism overnight and save thousands of lives.
I mean, I can't argue with it, though.
Can't we just ban cities? Yeah, I think that would solve a lot more of our fucking problems.
Wait.
The result is correct.
The ridiculousness of the action to reach that result is... All right, okay. This is the best part right here. More than 40,000 Americans were killed by cars in 2016. The equivalent of a fully loaded Boeing 747 falling out of the sky once every 3 days. It's more than the 33,000 annual gun deaths and more than the 20,000 plus people killed by synthetic opiates that year. Half of the automobile fatalities occurred in urban areas. About 6,000 of them were pedestrians.
Why don't you just ban fatalities? It's genius if you think about it. Ban people from getting killed. Ban people from getting killed.
But realistically, if you getting around horses and shit, was there a higher percentage of horse accidents or horse deaths related to the population? It kind of makes sense. People are dying in car accidents because people are idiots. So when they get in cars, they drive like idiots.
People can die on a single horse, let alone 350 of them.
My
navigator's 300. No, it's 300.
You can step off the curb, roll your ankle, break your leg, get sepsis, and die from the infection. We should ban curbs. That's what it is. We should ban curbs.
You can die from freezing to death. We need to ban winter.
No. You can drown in as little as 3 inches of water. We should ban bathtubs.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of like fucking.
Monoxide.
Yeah.
No. We don't need to ban bathtubs. We need to regulate them to only be 2.5 inches.
I'm kind of pro-death for morons, so like fucking
bring back
regulate
Darwin.
Everything. Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Make natural selection great again.
It's
fucking for real at this point, dude. I'm welcoming it.
It's as dumb. It's as dumb of the idea as Honolulu or Hawaii recently passed a law banning texting while walking, right? And the whole point of this was because they walk in front of cars while texting and get hit by cars, and people believe that it is
it's your own fucking fault.
Okay, but if you live there and you see that on the news and you don't learn from that, I'm sorry, but you earned it.
If you're walking,
if you're surrounded, be a little bit racist for a second here. Lived in Hawaii for 3 years. They don't fucking learn ever. Nobody on that island. It's not racist because it's not. Because everybody on that fucking island, and they're not all Polynesian, or they're not all Asian or whatever. But
that's actually status.
Hawaii fucking cooks people's brains. They don't fucking learn.
The sun, you know what? It's the sun, right? The sun just bakes down on them.
Right.
I think it's just a fucking, I don't know, too much spam intake.
I think so too.
It's the fluoride in the beach water. They're putting chemicals in the coconuts to make the frogs gay.
It's GMO coconuts is what it is. GMO poi. It's
GMO poi, yeah. The tofu.
Well, that's where like the fucking reptilian overlords live, is inside the volcano, dude.
Because they're cold-blooded. They have to have an external heat source.
Yeah. when the earth shakes, because they're scratching their back because the human form is itchy.
No, that's the turtle. That's the turtle moving around.
The giant turtle, yeah.
Earthquakes are caused by the turtle.
Well, like the idea that, oh my goodness, like I can't even think. I can't even think, right? Like I go back to the idea of, number one, there's too many lifeguards in the gene pool. Period. Right? The nanny state is the reason we have dumb shit like this, and government is the reason that we have, quote, terrorist attacks in the U.S.
And nobody shocked the gene pool in a long ass time. You got to shock a pool every now and then.
Well, what I always ask is like,
you need to drain the pool.
If the government, obviously the government's fucking largely responsible for terrorist attacks happening, whether they're engineered or whether they let them happen, because it's like, unless they're just completely inundated with so much goddamn information that they're like rendering themselves ineffective, or they know what the fuck's going to happen and let it happen. You know what I mean? Either way, they're
okay, don't discount the Benny Hill effect. You should hear some of the stories that I have heard of these just comedy of errors, fucking scenarios that go down and generate all the sit reps and things like that, because this person fucked up this part of their job.
I don't doubt that happens.
Fucked up this part of their job.
Yeah.
So,
government is a Rube Goldberg machine, right? Like they kick the can, the ball rolls down and it falls into the thing, and then this thing does this and this thing that. Yeah, that's exactly what government is, and they don't always.
At the same time, you know what I mean? You see things.
Shit?
Yeah. Well, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, see, and then you see things like Operation Northwoods, that's like written up. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, they're capable of like engineering some insane shit too. So it's like, it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
they can be extremely incompetent, and they can also, be extremely crafty, and then just be like, oh, well, we're going to blame our incompetence this time, even though we engineered it.
Well, and my impression from being
Plausible
around
deniability and shit.
From being around the government so much, with agencies and things like that, my general impression, and this is just my subjective overall impression of where the problems come from that are created by government, is that it's like 75% incompetence and inefficiency, and like 25% absolutely nefarious. And it's a small, it's only like maybe a quarter of government actions and agencies and people in the government who actually have these tyrannical, totalitarian intent behind what they do, and the things that they plan and stuff like that. The rest of it is just slipshod execution. It's fucking incompetence. It's it's just
at the lower levels, it's majority of the time it's incompetence. But the higher you get up and the smaller the group is, the more nefarious it is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Government.
And that's where the whole plausible deniability thing comes in, is everybody's fucking compartmentalized, so it's like it can be passed off as fucking incompetence.
Right. Yeah, they definitely use that as a nice little.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. Lots of scapegoating. Going on.
What happened to Dylan? Did he drop out already?
Who knows?
And that's the beauty of having such a fucking large, bloated fucking bureaucracy, is that you can do that.
He stayed on mute. I don't know why.
That's because he doesn't want to listen to you.
That just means we can't hear him. He can hear us.
No, I'm changing locations.
I say cut a majority of it away, well, if not all of it, but cut a majority of it away, like a fucking extra limb that would grow out of it from Fukushima or some shit.
Like
that's what the majority of it is. Yeah, dude.
Oh. Yeah. So
speaking of government terrorism, there go the Michigan State Police.
Hey,
you're gonna edit that out, right?
Yeah.
This is not edited.
This is
Oh,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
How about from one dumbass bureaucrat to another?
Yeah.
Okay, Rahm Emanuel.
Always a fun topic.
Oh, this guy, I'm not even going to give the article. I'm not going to read the title yet. I'm just going to start reading it for you, okay? Try not to vomit, Derica.
Wait, I need to add this in real quick before.
Okay, go. What you got, Dan?
He's, I think he was former Israeli Defense Force.
Something like that.
Anyway, go ahead.
He's a puppet. Mayor Rahm Emanuel plans to go after more cars parked illegally on the weekends in busy areas as Okay. Mayor Rahm Emanuel plans to go after more cars parked illegally on weekends in busy areas of the city as part of his 2018 budget.
What a dickhead.
Emanuel's financial team told Alderman Monday they would expand from the downtown area to other neighborhoods, a program to pay parking enforcement workers overtime to extend weekends, hoping to take in an extra $4 million.
Wow.
The amount is a pittance in the context of the mayor's proposed $8.6 billion budget, but it's a move that can anger Chicago drivers already smarting from red light and speeding camera ticket programs.
I got something for
anybody
this.
still live in Chicago?
Yeah.
Like, I don't fucking understand it.
Super corrupt.
No, I got something for this particular thing right here.
The city stands to make about $2.6 million this year from parking tickets issued in and around downtown by city workers on the weekends. In 2018, the new technology will allow the weekend overtime program to be expanded to whatever neighborhoods it makes sense to send them.
Ugh. Go ahead, Dylan. You said you had something.
Yeah. So rudely interrupted.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
No, but it's an
Jason
example.
Read the article. You don't know how this works. Right?
Oh, okay.
The article.
I watched. I know how it works. I thought he was finished. I'm sorry. Cider here, I know.
Apologies.
But no, force with way too much resources and time on their hands. If they can enforce something like that, they don't need to be as big as they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's pure. Sorry, I'm interrupting you again.
No, it's all right.
Go.
Like around here, they put out the promos and the commercials. They're big on driver's license and registration, blah, 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 insurance, because it's a big thing in Michigan, because Michigan has some of the most expensive insurance in the country. For, like, my car is $250 a month. If I wanted, I only pay $300 for it down. I'm not going to.
Holy shit.
$250 a month. If I wanted to buy a car in a loan, doesn't make any sense.
Our insurance is like $135 a month, and we have full coverage on 3 cars. And yeah, it's insane.
It does Google plate. It has a New Hampshire temp tag. It was expired 8 months ago. I drive around here, Flint Cops, Flint Township, Grand Blanc, the state police even don't even touch me. Probably because they don't got time for that. Because they know there's no way. I seen a state police one day kind of looking me up and down. He was behind me. I'm going to work, but there's a training academy out there, so I might have got lucky. Maybe he was late for a meeting or something. But there's no way they don't know it's illegal. Like you can clearly see on the plate. So it's not that they don't know; it's that they just don't got time.
Yeah, right.
For that, especially around here. The police departments that can enforce those kind of ridiculous little statutes and laws, I might even go somewhere else. Obviously, we don't want to go anywhere they have in the first place. But government-wise, much money on your police department if you have to enforce that to generate revenue. Just stick with assault, murder, rape, actual crimes.
Yeah.
Generating revenue.
Chicago is one of those cities too. It's large enough that it actually has a department dedicated to the sole purpose of writing parking tickets. That they have the little 3-wheel cart that they ride around on and write parking tickets for expired meters and stuff.
That's kind of weird because Chicago's a violent place. You'd think they'd have a lot of crime. Like around here in Flint, they're a lot more violent than us, and our cops don't have time.
Cops aren't going anywhere near those fucking areas.
That might be it.
Solving murders doesn't generate revenue.
That might be it. They're not going to those areas, not dealing with the crimes they're paid to deal with, so they have to do this other stuff.
And
the areas that were, by the way, created by government programs.
Yep. Well, that and solving murders and stopping fucking serious crime like that doesn't fucking generate revenue.
No,
that's true. But yeah, on the revenue front, they have a department dedicated entirely to writing tickets, which means that the revenue from the tickets is actually more than it costs to have people to do nothing but write tickets. Right. That is
they have to expect to get more off of these weekend tickets than they're paying overtime to that entire department.
Yes.
So
$4 million. They're expecting $4 million just from weekends. Writing parking tickets, illegal parking, expired meters, etc., etc. $4 million worth of tickets.
It's fucking insane.
For the sole reason that you are parked in a way that the city does not agree with.
That's like parasitic profit, dude.
It's insane. It really doesn't baffle me. The logic of it, Status are doing this and Anarchy over here, but the belief that this is a good thing and a right thing and the correct thing to do just.
I don't think he thinks it's the right thing to do. I don't think he thinks it's a good thing to do. I think he thinks it's going to raise revenue. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Bring that up to a Status next time. You want to fucking plant a seed in their mind. Be like, hey, fucking, what do you think about cops? Just giving tickets to you that you can't afford, or you might be on a little bit of money that week or whatever. and it ends up crippling you fucking financially for a fucking couple of weeks because, like, you know, you got to pay a $300 ticket or some shit, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and if you can't pay the ticket, they'll throw you in jail, and if you refuse to go to jail, they'll shoot you in the face. So literally, they're enforcing parking tickets with a gun pointed to your head.
Oh yeah.
People who are very low income, a parking ticket like that can set them back. It could take them 6 months to recover.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely.
It's that one fucking snowflake that starts.
And cops don't give a
avalanche,
fuck about that either.
Hell no, they don't.
Yeah, because like I bring home probably $550 after taxes a week, a $150, $200 ticket. There goes my budget for a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because then you're playing catch up for months
Yeah.
after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No Lions game.
And then if you are low income and you're paying it off a little bit at a time or whatever, there's like fees on the back end of this that will increase the cost. Like you got to pay. You don't only got to pay the ticket, but then you got to pay. There's like administrative fees and all this other stuff. And like, if you get like a boot on your car or something like that, that's like $800 to get the boot removed by it. Just the boot. That's like $800.
So, America, you are literally paying them to steal from you. You are paying them through your taxes to oppress you and to steal from you and to fuck your life up.
You know what was the most awesome fucking experience I ever had? I had to go pay actually I didn't even pay it. The DA or the assistant DA, sorry. ACOD'd my ticket when I was like, I don't know, like 16. I got like caught with like, you know, possession of weed. And
freaking hippie.
How dare you?
Yeah. They ACOD'd it for 6 months. They were just like, you know, keep your nose clean, whatever, for 6 months and it'll be dropped. So no, sorry, that was a different time. So anyway, there was a I think it was a trespassing ticket or something that I got. Because we were on like an owl preserve hanging out. And I was actually DD that night. So anyway,
owl preserve.
It's New York. It's New York.
We got a butterfly preserve here.
It's along the Hudson River. So anyway, the judge actually admitted, he was like, yeah, whatever, it's a $75 surcharge. He's like, or as I like to call it, state tax. You know what I mean? Like, and he said this like in front of everybody that was in the courtroom, and I'm like, oh shit, this guy. I'm like, this guy like secretly hates his job.
Or at least sees how wrong it is.
He'll still enforce that tax though.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Now he just wanted to tell us the weed story. That's why he forgot.
Well, yeah, that was a different time, man. Fucking Jesus Christ.
But a positive on that story is I didn't know owl reserves existed, but now I want to go to one.
Yeah, man.
There's spotted owl reserves in Oregon.
Yeah,
and
the county too, yeah.
And turkey vultures and golden eagles, I think.
There's
lots of stuff.
We have one here. We have one here for butterflies.
Speaking of which,
I think I'll pass on butterflies.
Back to that story.
It's right. It's right next to the giant factory with the gas blowing out of the smoke. It's really nice.
You gotta love that shit, man. So back to what I was saying really quick about the ACOD with the ticket. I was in my buddy's car, and the cops came up to put a parking ticket on his car because it was parked the wrong way on the wrong side of the street. And they flashed a flashlight in the car and saw me in there rolling one up. And I'm like, shit. So I just like opened the door and whatever, handed it to him. Because I was like young, whatever. I probably should have just sat there and ate it. And just been like, you know, fuck you, whatever, like what evidence. But so I handed it to him or whatever, and then they like brought me around to the back of the car and like frisked me or whatever, and then put me in cuffs, like for no reason at all. I had my buddy's car keys on me, so they brought me back to the station. They were like, fucking, you know, give me shit. Finally let me go. And I'm like, you know, hauling ass, because like back then, like, you know, nobody really had a cell phone or anything. And I'm like running because it was like, you know, on the other side of town. So I'm like booking, and they like drove past me and like honked their horn, like laughing and shit. They go back to my buddy's house where everybody was like drinking or whatever in the upstairs of his parents' garage. And the cops like went into the upstairs of the garage, and my buddy was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like this was like before I had like gotten back or whatever. They beat me back to his house. So they were like, "Oh yeah, whatever." They were like, "Oh, can one of you guys come downstairs and talk to us?" So my buddy went downstairs, and he's like, "What's the problem?" He's like, "Oh, your buddy's waiting back at the station," knowing full well that I was running back to his house, and was like, "Oh yeah, he's waiting for one of you guys to come to the station, pick him up." So he was like, they were trying to bait like my friends to come to the station to pick me up when they knew that I wasn't there, because they knew that they were drinking, trying to entrap them into drinking and driving.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm like, that's some fucking bullshit, man.
It is.
Oh,
I mean,
dirty
it's
bastard.
genius, but man.
And they were fucking trespassing on their property, you know.
Fucking A.
Well, they know
Cocksuckers,
they can get
so.
away with it because you're younger kids.
Yeah.
Then you know, no younger kids don't even have them not talking to the police, or you have a right to resist the police, or you know,
No, 'cause you're
not
fresh
letting
out
them
of-
into your home.
You're fresh out of government indoctrination.
Right. The police are good people.
Right, they're there to help and protect and serve.
Well, we knew back then that they were our fucking arch nemesis and shit. Like, we had fucking trails that went all through fucking town where we could fucking not be seen. Like, you know, we'd go from one side of town to the other, and you wouldn't even know that, like,
Right.
be
Not
on the
out in
down
the
low and
open
shit, dude. Yeah.
thoroughfares and shit
Yeah,
like
no.
that.
Like, when we'd skip school, it'd be like the back trails to the fucking hop on the train, ride the train, hop off. No joke, dude.
You know, but
Back road and the back pew.
Yep. I got a high school cop story, but I'm not going to tell that one on
Good old days.
live video.
Oh, what an asshole! What a tease!
Oh, maybe later. Maybe later.
So,
Yeah,
what
I
other
lived-
stories do we got? Anything?
I'll about one more. Army veteran avoids prison but still vows appeal of Safe Act conviction.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Helper
you
go.
posting that.
Yeah, an Iraq War combat veteran who served 7 years in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division avoided prison time and received a conditional discharge Wednesday for his 3 felony violations of New York State's gun control law.
Cocksuckers.
The guy still plans to appeal his conviction, right? A Niagara County, I didn't say his name because I can't pronounce it. A Niagara County jury convicted the Niagara Falls resident of possessing high-capacity ammunition magazines, which are illegal under the state's Secure Ammunition and Firearms Enforcement Act of 2013, commonly called the SAFE Act.
With that whole 8 rounds.
Police
Yeah.
found the items in the car during the traffic stop in April 2016. All right. Blah, 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 blah.
It's literally, it is inert metal.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
it can't even do anything without a fucking gun.
But it can shoot 100 bullets a minute.
Yeah, right.
High
Oh, no,
capacity
that's-
dose
It has
bullets.
bullet button. It's got a fucking bullet button.
That's the best part, you guys. On April 21st, the jury convicted him of having illegal high-capacity ammunition magazines, but acquitted him of the drunk driving charges that police also filed after pulling over in
my
2016. The magazines, 3 17-round Glock models loaded with bullets, were in a container that the police opened.
Rounds.
There was no
Oh, that
firearm
makes me
in the
crazy,
vehicle.
Dylan.
There was no firearm in the vehicle.
Rounds.
So what were they in the
Yes.
I
trunk?
know. That's what I'm always thinking. I do that every time I see that in an article.
Say it
Where
rounds.
they call
Just
it
say rounds.
bullets,
Yeah.
and I say the rounds. Or they call
The
it
bullets in the round. It's round.
Niagara County Judge Matthew J. Murphy III said the sentence was, quote, not a commentary on the New York SAFE Act. Murray had refused to dismiss the charges against him, but he did not suppress the evidence from which the defense called an illegal seizure. Murphy could have sentenced him to 21 years in prison for 3 counts of third-degree criminal
What the
possession of
fuck?
a weapon or place him on probation for 5 years. He did neither.
And this is Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Quote, as a judge, it is my sworn duty to follow the laws as written. The
Yeah.
condition of the
words, fuck
discharge included staying out of trouble, performing 15 hours of community service by March 1st, and paying $375 in surcharges. He was also fined $90 for speeding. So yes, he got out of jail, right? He's not going to jail for the terrible, terrible, terrible crime of owning 3 pieces of metal with 17 rounds in each of them.
So they dropped the DUI charges.
They dropped the DUI charges.
We could have a debate on whether that's, actually violence or not. We could have a debate on that. But they instead charged him with having, quote, bullets in the clips.
With owning, inanimate fucking objects.
Yes.
Oh,
they don't care. They don't.
Literally. Okay, 3.
That's because they could get a bigger charge for the weapons than they.
3 full magazines. 3 full magazines without a firearm in the vehicle. There was no gun in the vehicle at all.
So not
right? No firearm in the vehicle.
No fire.
Those the rounds in the magazines are literally as dangerous as having a pocket full of rocks.
Yeah. Without a gun, you could throw them in. That's about it.
There's no firearm.
Dude,
Hitler would be like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, that's how far we've gone with this shit. Oh my god.
Yes.
It's funny because I was in the barber shop the one time. It was like right after the SAFE Act had been put into place, and I had asked the sheriff that was in there. I was like, "You guys really gonna enforce this bullshit?" And he was like, "Well, no, not really. Like, And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it's the law, right? And he's like, yeah, well, we have the choice around here, or well, whatever. It's like up to the main sheriff. Yeah. And luckily, luckily the sheriff here, Greg Seeley, he was like, I'm not going to enforce that bullshit. He's like, because it was unconstitutional, whatever. But other counties, have decided to enforce it, and it's, it's a bunch of bullshit.
There's no firearm in the vehicle.
Dude, I don't know. So I was looking at running for mayor, right? And sort of doing my research, and Pickle, who has been the sheriff of our county since I was 6 years old.
Pickle Rick. I'm sorry, that's where I met.
Yeah, Robert Pickle. That's the best part. Robert Pickle. The guy's name's Bob Dick. Because there's this Flint lockup we have that costs the city a couple $1 million a year, and it just holds overflow from the county jail essentially, and they're not nonviolent criminals and drugs and stuff like that, traffic violations.
Yep.
And his quote was, I'm probably paraphrasing, but his quote was essentially, if we close the city lockup, it would overflow the county jail, and it would cause us to put non-violent people back on the streets.
Who fucking who? They shouldn't have been in there to begin with.
And I was like, does anyone else read this and not have this reaction that I do?
What an asshole. I know.
We covered a story like that last week, or last time out of Alabama.
Fucking madness.
With a county sheriff that wanted to keep, quote, the good prisoners in jail because they need people to change oil and wash the cars and cut the grass.
Literally pretty much admitted that they need slaves.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of principle that's behind
there went Dylan. There Dylan's back.
Yeah.
It's like the same type of thing. If you guys remember me telling you about the IG's report about traffic cameras in DC, and the DMVs, the IG found that the traffic cameras, if you guys remember, we talked about this last time or the time before, but the traffic cameras were found to be really inaccurate, and they couldn't guarantee which car was the one speeding and all this shit.
Yep.
And the IG recommended that the program just kind of be shit canned, and the DMV's response was, we can't shut the program down.
Yeah, we're making too much money.
We need the revenue.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Just fucking some bullshit, dude.
So we have to let you victimize innocent fucking people just to continue fucking justifying your existence and paying you to victimize it.
Yeah, not only continue to continue justifying victimizing them, but with an admitted faulty program. So we're not even going to get the people that are actually breaking the law, quote unquote. Right. No, we're going to get everybody
that's
on the fact that we can raise revenue off the people that are actually dumb enough to pay their tickets.
Right.
That's the part that makes me laugh the hardest. Is that
what
like
it boils down to is we don't want to do our jobs properly, but we don't want to lose our jobs. So fuck you, fuck all of you.
Oh my goodness!
That's what makes me laugh so hard about it all. Is like that they like admit that they're doing this shit. Like they just don't even give a fuck. Like
I know.
Job security.
It's like what the fuck, dude?
It's so callous. It's so blatant. They're not even trying to dress it up
Not
anymore.
at all. Not at all. Like it makes me think of that Frank Zappa quote where he was like, you know, like pretty much like when the show's over, like they'll fucking draw back the fucking curtain and you'll see like the brick wall at the back of the theater. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just like not even gonna give a shit anymore. And like, you know. I forget. I butchered the fucking quote, but you know, I'm sure you get the point.
That's okay. We do that. I did that on a Seeds of Liberty podcast. I misattributed my favorite quote. I felt like such a fucking idiot afterwards. I hated that shit, man.
I think my other phone's dead. Otherwise, I'd get it. Oh wait, no. So we got like 5 more minutes.
I guess.
Yeah, give or take. I just want to throw one more one out there real quick for you guys.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, this is another one from. Where's this guy from? I have no idea where he's from. Either way, Senator Blumenthal outdid himself on CNN's Wolf Blitzer. The gun-grabbing senator saw an opportunity in the deaths and injuries caused by the truck terrorist, the Uzbek winner of the Chuck Schumer's random lottery, but whatever the guy's name is. The preachy DC swamp rat said that we're lucky that he used a truck instead of his assault rifle. And I quote, "You know, what doesn't quite square with all this is that a paintball gun or a pellet gun, and perhaps there was a fortunate aspect to this, that he didn't have an assault weapon or something that would have literally killed tens or hundreds of people at this point.
Oh my God.
But the use of trucks certainly is the MO that's been used more and more by both homegrown and foreign terrorists." So this guy... He was happy that the guy used a truck and not an assault rifle.
Fucking ridiculous.
Assault is not a fucking weapon. It is a verb. You douchebags. I fucking hate when they call them assault rifles, assault weapons. What the fuck does that even mean?
Why don't they call it an assault truck?
Guns don't assault anyone any more than a fucking hammer assaults people.
And it's the same thing with that article.
Use it to assault people.
Yeah,
Jesus,
and it's
you could use anything. I could fucking.
It's the same thing with the argument in the article about
I have an assault can.
Yeah.
My assault mic.
But see, that's who
can assault people with their fucking breath. Okay.
That's like the double think of like the people on the left, though. I mean, like, you know, people on the right do it too, but it's I see it a lot on the left. Is that like they'll be like, for example, they'll say like that one thing I posted the other day about how if you don't like realize that all white people are terrorists or something like that, like then you're a Nazi. And then like she was saying, and
it was talking about how every white person has to apologize.
Yeah.
For the Las Vegas shooter.
Yeah, there you go.
You're a Nazi.
Yeah, but then she was like, why is everybody judging all Muslims because of one driver that did something like you sick fucks, why would you think like that? Yeah.
It was two different texts, yeah.
And she was like totally contradicted herself. I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Well, that's because if they were logically consistent, they wouldn't be status.
Yeah.
But it was like, holy shit, like how can you be like that inconsistent? Like that's bad.
Well, people get that way because they spent 13 years in government indoctrination camp being told what to think instead of being taught how to think.
These not that particular people, these are the same kind of people that will say they fought for your freedom while telling you that you cannot sit down for their magic song.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Fuck, man.
Oh, my freedom to do exactly what I tell you to.
And you know what? It's weird. It's
They
weird
are
because
two
it's like
wafers of the same fucking Oreo.
Two cheeks on the same ass, spewing the same shit.
I get mixed feelings a lot because it's like I meet people, just random people that are like they get it. You know what I mean? And like I'm like, oh, I got fucking, you know, I have some hope that like there's people out there amongst humanity that are gonna fucking, you know, wake up or are waking up or whatever. And then there's people like that, and I'm like, holy fuck, these people are so far gone. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like such a mixed bag.
Is like a fucking yo-yo.
Yeah, but exactly. I have days where I'm like, yes, and then I'm like, oh, fuck.
I know, today was one of those oh fuck days for me. Today was one of those just, God, how does humanity even fucking tie its shoelaces? That was today for me.
Some people, I'm surprised that some people don't drown in the rain. I really am.
3-inch puddle.
3-inch puddle.
3-inch puddle. Yeah, bring back Darwin.
Regulate those bathtubs down to 2.5 inches.
No, we should deepen them to 5. God damn it. Survival of the people that don't drown in the fucking bathtub. That's what it should have been. You just missed it, Darwin. You just missed it. Yep. To quote Melissa, there's too many lifeguards in the gene pool.
Yeah. And the gene pool needs chlorine.
It's already got too much fluoride in it.
Yes, it does.
So, if she's watching, I miss her.
Speaking of bathtubs, I'm so excited about our new house.
You got it? You got the new place?
Oh, yeah, they accepted our offer. Yeah. We had our inspection on Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there's a couple things that they really do have to fix before we move. There's some stuff that they should be ashamed to put a house on the market with things like what they have. You know, there's some electrical issues that were clearly DIY. You know, there's some plumbing issues that were clearly DIY. It's nothing major. It's not going to cost them a whole lot.
Well, that's good.
But I require that those things be fixed before we move it, because that's just inexcusable.
Yeah. You
don't sell a house that has fucking, you know, fire hazards and arc hazards in your fucking circuit breaker. I'm sorry, you just don't sell it. So.
You think?
Sorry.
Oh, man.
So, you know, there's a couple things. You know, the deck has to be totally ripped off. It's a complete loss because that was clearly a DIY thing, too. The only part where it's properly supported is right under the hot tub. So, but
hot tub.
Well, at least they made the effort there.
Hot tub party at Dirica's.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Kev.
No, we want you guys to come visit. All of you can visit, but we'll have the room for
Jason's pricing tickets as we speak.
Right.
Not all of you. You don't want to hear me talk about false economy all day. It might spoil the party.
Be like 3 hours into it, she's just throwing shit at you.
No, I'm gonna put you guys to work. I've got an orchard to plant.
Shit.
I've got a deck to rip down.
I see the trick.
Yeah, that's right. It's no trick. I'm telling you right up front.
You know what you signed up for?
She'll make you sandwiches and paleo brownies.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I make a good chili. I'll have that crock pot.
Sandwiches.
And we got beer. So, but
yeah, I mean, that's all you had to say. You got beer.
Right. We got beer and food. I'm a good cook.
So that's the beginning.
I really am. I'm a really good cook. So we got food and we got beer. And I got weed.
See, if you just would have said those two things at the beginning, I would even need the rest of the promo or know what I'm doing.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
I do have an orchard to plant. These motherfuckers, they made it a point to put on the contract that one specific tree on the property does not convey. They're taking a tree with them when they leave.
The fuck?
Is it like a fruit bearing tree or is it just like?
It's a magnolia.
Okay.
Yeah, No, it's kind of small. It's one of those deals. I think is one of the we planted it when our youngest child was born, kind of things, and they want to take it with them. But they're gonna dig that shit up, and they're gonna fucking take it. I was like, okay, but we'll have a gym, you guys.
Nice.
We'll have a gym. There's already a gym in the house, and all that stuff conveys. But
Awesome.
we're adding a squat rack. But yeah.
Sweet. So
it's gonna be nice. You guys have to come visit.
It looks really nice, dude.
So if you're listening, if you're still listening, party at Derica's.
That's right.
BYOB.
Yeah.
BYOC.
Yeah.
God.
And bring a strong back.
Cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis, Dylan.
What do you
Don't-
prefer,
don't make it
sativa,
gay.
indica, hybrid?
Don't make it gay.
Yeah, it wasn't. I would assume that you were already bringing your own. So all right.
Well,
I'm sure you prefer a nice indica for the pain.
Me? No, I'm a sativa girl.
Yeah.
I gotta have my sativa.
Hey, I like a nice hybrid or indica.
Yeah, I
Myself.
like sativa because I have like the chronic pain like beats me down and I can get kind of depressed. Not like emotionally, but like energy wise.
Yeah.
And a sativa will kind of help me.
Yeah, it gives you a
shit
pep
done.
in your step.
Bring it back up.
Yeah.
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 Well, if I don't got shit to do, I like a nice indica.
Yeah. I like it anyway. I can
Fucking-
get it if I don't have
yeah.
anything I need to do.
Get that couch lock going on. Be like,
Yep.
No, I prefer to be productive in sativa.
what was it?
Couch,
the fucking
couch lock and old cartoons. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, man. Fuck. What was it? That meme that I posted last night? Like you're stuck in cheese world, going 6 fucking dimensions a second or something like that, with the fucking alien.
I got
Oh, man.
I got prescriptions if I want couch lock.
Oh damn!
So,
Look out!
Dylan, what's so funny?
I want to
I'm
get
still-
fucking.
I'm still applying all this information to the original meaning of BOC to me, so it's
Oh.
coming out entirely different.
I want to get some hot tub lock going on.
Yeah,
That's
for
what I'm
real,
talking
right?
about.
It's not a very big hot tub. It's like 110 volt. It's weird because
That's right.
it's like most normal size hot tubs are like 220, and they have
220,
to
yeah.
be hardwired in. This is like one of those plug and play ones, but one of the bigger ones with like 4 people. Dylan, stop.
I'm sorry.
You're such
I
a
helped
Dude.
it. I
Dude, you
tried
can
so
put a-
hard.
You could put a fucking like a camping stove under a 5-gallon pail, and I'll fucking stand in it. Like I don't even care.
Seriously. No, it's good. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for it. We were gonna put one in wherever we ended up because I need
Nice.
one in the wintertime. Because of all my issues and the muscle spasms and things. If I get too cold, I have real problems. Like
Yeah,
bad
no doubt.
problems. So, a hot tub is something that I've started feeling like I need to have, even if it was just one of the really little ones.
Yep.
The portable ones. I just needed something like that.
You
Come on, Dylan. See now it's in my head too, and every time she says something,
I thought I was off it. I thought it was over.
oh,
You guys.
You got to be more specific there.
just
No,
when we
I
think
don't.
we're
What makes you
just when we
that I'm
think we're
not
out,
enjoying
Dylan.
this?
Yeah.
Just when we think we're out, Dylan, she pulls us right back in.
And you guys keep falling right into it.
We were
now
lured.
with your fucking chronic pain problem, because I mean, like I get issues with it too. You notice
Dan?
that like if you're not like mobile, that it like you tend to fucking seize up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like we kind of like have to like stay
Object at rest
stay
stays at
active.
rest,
Yeah, dude.
Now
'Cause
watch
it's like-
Dylan and Jason when I say this one. I have to switch positions often, or I get too stiff.
I'm trying really hard over here. I'm like the little kid in school class, like laughing at stupid jokes. Like the cheesiest, lamest joke.
It's like your sedentary lifestyle almost like leaves you feeling like you're like dry.
Right? Gotta keep the juices flowing.
Oh, they just gotta push it.
Oh, dude, that one fucking meme that I posted like a couple weeks back where she was like, yeah, my lips are dry. And he's like, does it hurt when you walk? And she was like, what? He was like, what?
Oh my goodness.
That shit had me fucking dying, dude.
And then that one took me a second to catch on to.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
Well, if you're ever with a chick and she says that, do that. That'd be fucking gold.
What? I didn't say anything.
I didn't say it. It was my fault.
I can lick your lips for you.
Oh,
man.
God, we're such bad people. I love it.
We're such fun people, goddammit.
I am never getting elected in any public office because of these videos. It'll be like the night before election. I'll think I've made it.
Do you know
I'm
these guys?
leading in the polls. Boom.
Are you kidding? This shit will
Montage
get you
of the
This
shit I have said on these live shows.
Yeah. No, this is gonna get you elected, dude.
It
We'll
might
do it
have
like-
went, so
We'll do it like Drugs Inc. and like fucking like blur your face out and like
Oh my
do like
God.
the fucking like.
dude, that show is so ridiculous. Like the camera crew just walks into some drug lord with a full basement of coke. Like, no,
That does not happen in real
fuck?
life.
no one's gonna let a camera crew walk into that shit. You're gonna get shot.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say.
Dylan, you should own this shit and be the
Get your
Hey,
shot
we're from
candidate.
2020.
Um,
And that gangster they hired. Oh my God. Yeah, but to go to the red carpet. Gets in his little Tahoe. I'm like, oh, I got the car, right? Camera crew pulls up to the red carpet. He just makes a drop in the middle of the red carpet with all. Yeah, okay. I'm sure that's exactly how it happened.
Fucking retarded.
That's totally what happens every single time.
Jesus.
Oh,
Alright.
fucking. All right, we've been on 2 hours, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess this is the end of episode 20. Why did we make it this far?
Because we do it for us, not for anybody who's
I don't know. I thought you guys sucked when you first started.
We did suck when
Oh.
we
Then it
first
kind of
started.
got funny. And it got entertaining.
Maybe we think we suck, Dylan.
It did. It took a while to like. I was like, man, they suck. They're just talking over each other and nothing in articles. And then after a while, it was like, I kind of like it
Yeah.
because it
We
wasn't
grow
like there is no platform, no standard. Like
Right.
I know this segment's coming, this segment's coming. It's like, what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah. We kind of grow on you like fungus, right?
You got Derica, Jason, this guy in there. Oh, shit, get crazy.
yeah, I think our rapport has gotten better, and we like learn not to like step on each other's toes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we give each other space to talk. You know what I mean? It's not like everybody's trying to jump all over each other.
Right.
Well,
Which
I
is good.
also think it was a little bit harder before when we had Kevin and Mark and
Oh, yeah.
Melissa, and we had like 7 people, and it
Yeah.
was so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I missed those people, of course, but
Yeah. It takes time. It's like Anarchy Action. It took us a while to even just the same 4 of us every show to get to a point where we're in tune, and me and Andrew never got in tune. We may appear in tune, but we've gone back and watched those videos and we've reviewed them and went, no, we weren't talking about the same thing. We thought we were, though. Like, completely disagreed with each other, but we thought we did, so we went with it, and it worked out.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the only episode I've rewatched is like episode 3 or 4 with Melissa, and we like
That was episode
turn
3.
her bright red,
That was episode
like
3.
like
3.
7 shades of.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was a good one. That was the Sex is a Food Group one, right?
Yeah, sex and food. Yeah, she was blushing so hard. Oh, that was a fun episode.
That was good.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works. I think it works because we're here because we're friends and we like bullshitting with each other. and we just happen to live stream it for anybody else.
Pretty much.
Watch it.
That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
I mean, I turned off Monday Night Football for this.
No way.
Or Sunday Night Football.
There's Raiders and Dolphins. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a Lions guy, I'd love to watch Cutler get sacked 100 times, but that wasn't happening. So, I mean, my team plays tomorrow night. I'll be at work. Thank God.
Who's playing tomorrow night?
The Lions and the Packers.
Well, actually, Lions will probably win that game because Rodgers is out.
Yeah. My Niners are 0-8.
Oh man!
Did you see the Pittsburgh game? This guy fumbled the ball. Nobody was touching it.
Wow.
The headless horseman was in.
Giants lost 51
was in
to
Ford
17
Field.
today.
Happy Halloween.
If it makes you feel any better, Jason. Giants lost 51 to 17 today.
Oh my God, they got destroyed.
To the Rams.
Hilarious.
Rams look good though. I'm like, what?
Jared Goff is a product of UC Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he did really, really, really good at Berkeley. So I'm not surprised that he's doing good at the Rams.
Crazy.
Same with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a product of UC Berkeley also.
Yeah, I watched the sports balls too. Did you see that guy slam dunk the touchdown?
Go back to your plug and play. We're talking sports over there.
Yeah.
So, like, the UC Berkeley produces commie cocksuckers and really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, and good running backs.
What's the difference?
For Paul Gordon, if he happens to be watching, Sparty on. So my Michigan State Spartans upset at his Penn State Lions last night after a 7.5-hour game. So
yes, the huge rain delay. I watched that. I watched the first half of that game. I was so excited, and then they went into the weather delay and they switched to a different game.
Yeah,
and I didn't get to watch the rest of it.
I got to watch the rest of it. It was glorious.
Well, actually,
my buddy Trevor and his girlfriend Crystal, they were at the game.
Actually, let me rephrase that. UC Berkeley can convert tight ends to wide receivers.
So can Derek just plug and play.
I can talk about tight end.
See, even Derek got that one. Sports ball.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna kill the broadcast before we get in more trouble.
Know more about sports than I let on. I just have no interest in watching.
No, you're a woman, so no.
All right, this is episode 20. We'll catch you next time. Bye.